What's up, Patreon community? It's Greg Alba here.
And it's John Humphrey over here.
We're going to do another movie news of the week for you guys. This week, May 13th through the 20th. Only got a few stories. When I say just a small handful of stories, only do have a small handful here. We're going to kick off the first story. This first one will be going up on YouTube because so many people wanted us to talk about it. But the other three stories are just for the Patreon community. Exclusive commentary
Tales.
on the other one. But here we go for the Tom Hardy one. Tom Hardy, he's going to lead Venom.
He's going to play Eddie Brock.
He's going to play Eddie Brock in Ruben Fleischer's Venom movie.
What voice is that?
I don't know. Don't question me on my method of madness of germs. Stop.
Oh boy.
If only we edited these. Damn.
Yeah.
Off to a weird start. John and I got to bed very late, and I got to bed at like 9 in the morning. And he got to bed, I don't know when, but you had to get up a lot earlier than me. But we gotta
get up and drive an hour.
Yeah, you have to get up and drive very far. But anyway, let's talk about this. Tom Hardy to lead Venom. When I first heard of the Venom movie announcement, I thought, why? Why are you doing this? Why is Sony doing its own separate Venom entry?
It seems like it would be weird to create a Spider-Man universe that doesn't have a Spider-Man, you know? Like, even if there are comic books based around Venom, like, most people know that character for being a Spider-Man villain.
Well, his whole origin deals with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
His entire origin deals with that entire process of Spider-Man. You know, as accurately portrayed by Topher Grace in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3.
Completely accurately. All that muscle he put on to
Yeah.
portray Eddie Brock.
He didn't play Topher Grace at all. He played the Eddie Brock we all knew and loved from the comics.
Totally. Just buff, imposing photographer.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
He wasn't sarcastic guy that we saw from that 70s show. And I was like, it can't get any better than that.
Can't get any better than
Maybe Tom Hardy could do a good job. Maybe. That's a big maybe.
But that's not going to happen. Oh, wait! Look at that.
Yeah. Well, I still think it's a weird idea. However, I thought about it a little bit more. Spider-Man Homecoming is specifically in the high school years. Now, they could readjust it where... Because, you know, like, what did Spider-Man 1 do? He's in high school for a little bit, then he goes...
He graduates. Goes to college.
And Amazing Spider-Man 1 was supposed to stay in high school, and in Part 2 he graduates. And he didn't get into the Daily Bugle yet. But they were headed that direction.
Yeah, it was gonna happen.
But he's supposed to, with the whole interaction with Peter Parker and Eddie Brock before Eddie Brock gets the symbiote.
Before he gets infected with the symbiote goo.
Yeah, that's all happens when Peter Parker's an adult. So when I thought about that, then it started making a little more sense to me, because okay, you got the Spider-Man Homecoming franchise in the MCU where Peter Parker is specifically in high school, and this could take place. I mean. They could do one of two things, I think. They could have it be still within the MCU, which I know they said they're not doing, but they could do that, where it's still within the MCU, but just a little bit later, where it's, you know, down the road, and where Peter Parker at this point in the timeline, he is an adult. He's not in high school anymore, because it would make sense for the timeline of the Venom origin story.
Well, the Infinity Wars are going to be like his World War II, and then he's going to get frozen for a long time.
Yeah.
Wake up in the future with Tom Hardy.
Yeah, okay, it could be that. Or they could just do their own separate Venom movie. I guess...
It seems like what they have to do here. Like,
I guess it could work.
There are Venom... Like, in the same breath as I used it before, like, there are Venom comics. I know that there is a series that's dedicated to Venom. So there's, like... there's stuff to draw from. I don't know what the... I have no idea what to expect. It's weird news, because we were listening to some news earlier, and they said, like, Tom Hardy at least got everyone interested, and I think that's absolutely true. It's like, hearing Tom Hardy wants to do this, I'll definitely take a look at it.
He's just an actor.
But he is just an actor. He's just
an actor.
And Ruben Fleischer has a spotty track record.
Ruben Fleischer has a very spotty track record.
Yeah.
His films declined. He did Zombieland, and everyone loved it. They had 30 minutes or less, which was, like, a decent comedy. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard. It's like, you laugh.
Yeah, it's funny. It's nothing special. And then he did Gangster Squad, which had this bomb-ass trailer, but then the movie itself was just really bad. That was not even... And that movie was filled with great actors.
Yeah.
No one could save that movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just because you get Tom Hardy as the lead, it's like, don't get me wrong, Tom Hardy as Venom sounds like a great choice. Tom Hardy's like the go-to actor. It's like either Tom Hardy or Idris Elba for black actors. You know? The two go-to actors when people are like, you know, who should reboot Wolverine? Tom Hardy, who should be Bond? Tom Hardy or Idris Elba, who should be the Metal Gear Solid? Tom Hardy! You know?
Tom Hardy's the only white actor and Idris Elba's the only black actor.
Yeah. So it's cool that they landed Tom Hardy for this.
Well, and it does make me wonder, because he doesn't seem like he just takes any job, you know? Like, maybe... I feel like he could bring something good to this.
He was originally cast as Boomerang in Suicide Squad.
That is true. That is true. See, that's a role... It's like... I don't know how I feel about him leading one of these. Maybe that's it. Because there's something that's weird about his casting to me, because it's the first time I feel like I would be maybe distracted by his presence.
Yeah.
Whereas like a more side character like Boomerang is like... I'm sure he'd have free reign to kind of do what he wants. You know?
I just don't know what Sony is doing.
Me neither.
Because... I mean, they had this whole deal with the MCU, with Marvel, where they're like, we need your help. And then they got the help, and now that it's Spider-Man's like hot again and everyone has faith in Spider-Man again, they're like, well, okay, how can we milk a little more money for ourselves now outside of the MCU? If they just kept working together, whatever profits they split could probably be enough to compensate for whatever solo franchise films they're making in their own Spidey world outside of Spider-Man. You know,
it seems like every major or a lot of the major studios have their superhero machine, and Sony is. I get it. Like they're not gonna go. They're not like that's the problem though. Is like as a business move, they have to use all this stuff they have the rights to because this is the opportunity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know how their cinematic universe is gonna really just come together. And I'm totally happy to be surprised by this. Well, I hope they have a cool plan.
From everything I've heard, it doesn't sound like they can even use Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would believe that. You know?
If they can't use Spider-Man, what's the point of doing this separate Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man? I mean, if they can get like a Miles Morales in there, but Venom's origin tale deals with Peter Parker specifically.
Cool loophole. That could actually be.
It could be a cool loophole, but like I said, I mean,
the Spider-Man itself probably makes it problematic.
I feel like you can't do a straight up Venom origin tale
without Spider-Man.
Without Spider-Man, you gotta at least have him in the shadows. Or you gotta be aware that he exists within the universe, but like, are they even allowed to say his name?
Yeah, they're gonna have some dude in the shadows that we're all supposed to know is just Spider-Man. Like, it's implied. What you say?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You see a spider. The web.
Exactly. What was that? Well, we know.
And Ruben Fleischer, though, he doesn't seem like the kind of director to me who seems like the right fit for a Venom film to begin with.
And this is a whole lot of... This is odd information to get this going, because we have no idea what their plot line is, we have no idea what their tone's going to be like, and this news just makes me wonder... It's got me scratching my head and, like, kind of worried but interested, I guess.
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm going to see it no matter what.
This doesn't make me go, hell yeah.
Yeah, even if it gets like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. I'll definitely see
this. It's one of those things that's been greenlit that is guaranteed to have some people like us at least tune in. It's not guaranteed to be a blockbuster phenomenon, but it's guaranteed to sell some tickets. But I don't know. I mean, the whole announcement sounds confusing. They could pull it off. There has to be a way where they must have something in mind where they thought about all the concerns that people like you and I and everyone else on the internet is having with, this just sounds very confusing. And for the people who don't follow movie news, are probably going to be especially confused, because you got to step outside of the bubble that we live in when it comes to keeping up to date with all the movie news and all of the comic book connections. Because I've met people who think X-Men's part of the Marvel universe. And I don't blame them, because they don't follow the They see the Marvel logo at the beginning.
Yeah,
they think it's a Marvel
they think
film.
all the movies
Yeah.
are under the same umbrella, and it's like X-Men's over at Fox,
Yeah.
and you know, you've got all the Spider-Man stuff. Sony, like, it is. Yeah, it is.
This
confusing.
just makes it even more confusing, honestly. Because
on a lot of people, Venom. I know that comic book fans know Venom, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who, if they just see that, they'll be like, "What is this?"
yeah, yeah.
You know, especially if you can't reference.
I mean,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 3 was a huge film. It still made like a lot of money, so a lot of people are. It's a while ago since Spider-Man 3. You know, it's been quite a few years since Spider-Man 3 came out. And so if you don't watch the '90s cartoon or any of the cartoons, or if you don't follow the comics, then you're probably going to be very confused.
You might only have a vague knowledge of who this character is at all, and you probably might be wondering where Spider-Man is.
And people might actually go into this movie thinking, oh, it's part of the MCU, it's part of the Spider-Man universe. And, you know, the more confusing part is there's probably going to be a Marvel logo that's slapped on before this movie plays, which is just going to confuse everyone else.
The thing I am interested for is I think, optimistically, if they're taking advantage of a different kind of character. Venom is a villain. I've not really read a bunch of his solo comics, so I don't know exactly what the dynamics are there, if he's like some kind of dark hero or not. But this is another cool opportunity. Like Suicide Squad was kind of an opportunity that they missed, you know, to center something around a darker, more villainous character. I think that can be an edge if they really go all in tonally on that, you know.
Well, the thing though is I don't know who this film's gonna satisfy.
Me neither.
Because this isn't the Venom movie we all wanted. It just doesn't sound like it.
The circumstances.
It sounds
are
like
dubious,
we all wanted a Tom Hardy to play a Venom. That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds like I can go on and on all day about why Tom Hardy's the perfect person to play Eddie Brock, and it's like, do we really need to? We all know Tom Hardy can pull this off.
There's no speculating you need to do. It's just like, Tom Hardy's great. He's good at making mannerisms, and even when he looks like Tom Hardy, he often just disappears into character.
And he could do action. He could change up his physicality. He could go fat, buff, skinny. It doesn't matter what that.
Fat, buff, skinny, fat, buff.
Yeah, he can do it all. But when I hear the director, I hear Venom movie that's going to be separate from the MCU, which see, that's why I brought up in the beginning that I feel like that's where it could kind of work, where I feel like, why not just say you're connected to the MCU still, just at a little later time frame, where this is when Spider-Man's an adult, or Peter Parker's an adult and he's working at the Daily Bugle, because that would make sense in terms of this. But the Venom story we all wanted was the perfect villain for Spider-Man. That's the Venom story we've wanted all these years. That's what Spider-Man 3 got us hopeful for and let us down on, and all we wanted was Venom to be this...
do that story justice instead of making it an afterthought.
Instead of doing your own, we're trying to get more money, trying to milk it, because we still got a little bit of our own rights that we don't share with Marvel here.
You gotta cram this shit into the movie, we're telling you it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm like, this Venom idea would probably do better if you shared it with the MCU, and you could probably make even more money. So even if you had to split profit, that split would probably equate to more than whatever they're trying to make here, and it could last more long term too. This seems like such a short term maneuver to me. It's one of those things where I think people have a right to be concerned and feel worry and kind of complain a little bit, because this is far from what we really wanted it to be.
I guess. I mean, the other thing too is, like I said before, we've talked a lot about it, and it's just 2 names, so like a lot more. Yeah, I'll have a lot more to say once I actually see like a clip or something.
Sony has done nothing to instill faith.
That's the thing, is that's when I'm thinking about the hierarchy of these studios. You know, when it comes to Marvel, usually I'm like, okay, this will probably be at least good. You know, fine. So I don't have a lot to worry about. They've got a good track record. Fox is like my second place, where I'm like, yeah, I don't really like Apocalypse, but you know, I like a lot of the things that you do anyway. Yeah. For every Origins, there's a Logan. I'll check you out. Sony is like the 3rd tier of my totem pole, where I'm like, you've messed up a lot of things since Spider-Man 2. Like, Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then everything else from there has been problematic. And then at the bottom, you got the DCU.
Yeah, this just seems like another Sony trying to milk money maneuver.
Yeah, it's like, I'll believe this is a good idea when you've shown me it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right now, you have my curiosity. You still need to get my attention.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just. And now it makes me wonder, like, will Venom ever appear in the MCU?
One day, in like 100 years.
You know, like, because if you're gonna do it, it's one thing to have two Quicksilvers, but they're both just supporting characters in separate franchises.
It's like we can abide.
Yeah, and they're very different. You know,
yeah.
They're very different Quicksilvers and different iterations. It's like with Venom,
both sexy.
Yeah, they're both sexy, but with Venom, man. And I'm like, I felt like the MCU would be the place to correct whatever Venom mistakes they made.
Yeah, and I feel like Tom Hardy as Venom would be a lot more exciting to me in the MCU context, not...
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited to see him do it. I'm curious about what he's gonna do. Like, that's cool. I'm excited for that. But the rest of it, I'm like, what's he gonna do on his own? What's he gonna do on his own? Just go off and...
I would have been fine if it was like you get a solo Venom movie with Tom Hardy, but you know you'll also get one where he's going up against Spider-Man. Or vice versa, where you get Venom as a villain and then you're getting a solo Venom movie. Yeah. This was the last thing I actually wanted for them to do with Venom.
Yeah, I'm conflicted by it. I'm like, part of me is like, this could be kind of... I don't know.
Alright, well, we're going to move on to the next story. But we'll do a quick outro for the YouTube video. Yeah. You can subscribe to The Real Rejects. We're right now, this is actually a video we're filming. The audio of this is going up on YouTube as you've listened to it thus far. We're going to be talking a few more stories up on our Patreon, so you can go there, check it out if you want to hear the rest of our movie news of the week. So catch you all later.